Good morning or afternoon, class. I just wanted to say that hopefully this will be the last time you'll be listening to me um, on a video. Hopefully, I'll be there on Wednesday. But I wanted to go ahead and start Unit 3. And before we get into it, really, you guys need to review some of the stuff that you probably haven't thought about since Algebra 1. So, this is just really review stuff. It's stuff that you're going to need throughout this unit. So we're just going to go back over some of your adding and subtracting, multiplying, and some of your exponent rules that you guys learned way back in the 9th grade. All right, these two expressions, they're known as polynomials, and you're going to subtract in the first and add in the second. And all you have to remember to do this is you just have to remember what your like terms are. So if you can remember like terms, it shouldn't be too hard. Like terms are terms that have the same exponent. So for example, you can add k with k, but you can't add k and k cubed or k and k to the fourth. So you would just put your like terms together. K minus 2k is negative 1k. And then you've got a 2k cubed. And again, that can only go with a k cubed. So you have a 2k cubed. And remember, this is minus, so it's minus a 2k cubed. So they actually will cancel out. Then you have a negative 4k to the fourth minus k, or excuse me, 8k to the fourth. So negative 4 minus 8 would give you a negative 12. And then you keep your k to the fourth. Now this is an acceptable answer. A lot of times they want you to write it in what they call descending order. So you put the largest coefficient, or not coefficient, but the largest exponent first. So you might see it written as this. Either one is a correct answer. All right, for the second one, you have 7x squared, and that's going to be added to a negative x squared. So that's really going to be just 7 minus 1. So that's 6x squared. Then you have a negative 2 plus 1, and that's going to give you negative 1. Then you have an x cubed plus a negative 2x cubed. And that's going to give you a negative 1x cubed, or just negative x cubed. And again, they usually want to write this in descending order. So the cube would go first, then the square, and then just the constant term. So that would be your final answer. Right, finding products. We've actually done this before. We've done this a lot in the last unit. I just was going to go over some shortcuts that you could use. For finding each product, you have to multiply the first term times the first term. So that's 7a squared. Then the first term times the last term, and that's going to be 35a. And then the middle term, negative 5 times a is negative 5a. And negative 5 times 5 is negative 25. Put your like terms together, and that gives you 7a squared plus 30a minus 25. And that will be your final answer. And this one is very similar to this. So it's kind of like once you've done one of these problems, you can do 100 of them. 8x times 6x is going to be 48x squared. 8x times negative 4 is going to be negative 32x. Negative 8 times 6 is going to be a negative 48x. And negative 8 times negative 4 is going to be a positive 32. Again, you've got like terms here. So you've got 48x squared minus, and that'll give you 80x, and then plus 32. All right, this one is considered a special case. Most students make a mistake here. They think it's just going to be square this, and they think their answer is 25x squared plus 49. But that's not correct because you're missing the middle term. This is actually 5x plus 7 times 5x plus 7. 5x times 5x is 25x squared. 5x times 7 is 35x. And 7 times 5x is 35x. And 7 times 7 is 49. So you have your like terms. So your final answer is 25x squared plus 70x plus 49. Now there's a shortcut you can do for this. So I'm going to erase this and I'm going to show you what the shortcut looks like. So for those of you who like to, get things done quicker, you might like this. So instead of going through that whole process, this is what you can do. You can say, okay, since it's squared, you're going to square the first term, leave some space, square the last term. To get the middle term, you multiply these two together and double it. And so that's going to be 70x. And then since it's a plus, of course they're all pluses. So that was really quick, wasn't it? So just remember, square, square, multiply, double. And boom, you got the answer. All right, over here, this is another special case. These are actually conjugates of each other. Notice they're the same. The only difference is the middle term. So we can work it out the long way, but the short way is going to be simply to just square this, and keep the negative sign. But to work it out, 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 3v is 9v. Negative 3v times 3 is negative 9v. And negative 3v times positive 3v is negative 9v squared. Now notice what happens in the middle. Those terms are opposites, so they're going to cross out. So you're going to end up with 9 minus 9v squared. But typically they're going to probably write it with the square term first, so they'll probably end up writing the answer like that. So the short term, or the shortcut for this, is when they're exactly alike, you just multiply the first term times the first term, last term times the last term, because the middle will always cross out. Okay, exponent rules. This is the rule you need to remember. Whenever you multiply two monomials together, monomials it's just one term, you're going to add the exponents. So the rule looks like this. If you multiply x times x, you're going to get x squared because you add the exponents. So when they have the same base, whatever the exponents are, you add them. So in number 7's case, you have a y cubed here and a y squared here. So you know that your y is going to be y to the 5th because 3 plus 2 is 5. See how you don't have any more x's? It's just that x there. That's like a negative 1. So you treat the numbers just like you normally would treat numbers. Just multiply the negative 2 times the negative 1. That gives you a positive 2. So that's your coefficient. So you don't add those. You actually multiply those. And then again, the x didn't have any other x's, so it's just going to stay that way. Now most of the time they'll go in alphabetical order, so they'll leave it like this. So it'll be 2xy to the 5th. For number 8, again, you treat the numbers just like you would. Positive 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. You've got y to the 4th, so that'll give you y to the 8th. And again, you don't have any more x's, so you'll just keep it as x squared. And again, they'll probably write it like this. So you just have to remember, whenever you multiply, you add exponents. So multiply, add exponents. This rule is a power to a power. So, for example, if you have x squared and then cubed, that's a power to a power. Whenever it looks like this, you multiply the exponents. So that would be x to the 6th. So you multiply. So for number 9, you've got, now remember this is a negative 1. So that's really saying it's negative 1 to the 4th. And it's u squared to the 4th. So again, power to a power, you multiply. So that's going to give you u to the 8th. Power to a power, you multiply. So that's going to give you v to the 16th. Now you might be wondering, well, what do you do here? Well, this is negative 1 to the 4th. So it's negative 1 times negative 1 times negative 1 Well, anytime you raise a number to an even exponent, it's going to come out positive. So this will actually be a positive 1. So your final answer will be u to the 8th, v to the 16th. All right, the next one. Now you've got a coefficient that's 4. Now this isn't 4 times 4. This is 4 to the 4th. So this actually means 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. So that's going to be a bigger number. That's going to be 256. And then the x cubed, then to the 4th, is going to be x to the 12th. And this will be y to the 16th. And finally, we have the division. All right, division works like this. Say you had x to the 5th over x cubed. You subtract your exponent. So 5 minus 3 is 2. So that will give you x squared. Now it gets a little tricky when it's flip-flopped, meaning what if the smaller number is in the numerator? You still are going to get an x squared, but this time it's going to be in the denominator. So there's a couple of ways to explain this. Some teachers teach you just to write it out. So for example, they'll say, hey, if you've got x cubed, that's really 3x's. If you got x to the 5th, that's really 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then just do the cross out thing. Those cross out, those cross out, those cross out. You're left with 2 x's. They're in the denominator, and you leave a placeholder of 1. Because really what you're saying is x goes into x one time. X goes into x one time, x goes into x one time. So that's why there's a 1 left. There's another way you can remember it is simply by just subtracting the numbers and leaving the exponent wherever the biggest number is. So since 5 is bigger than 3, you leave it in the numerator. Again, 5 is bigger than 3, so you leave it in the denominator. Right over here, you've got, let's handle the numbers first. Well, if you divide that, you know 3 goes into 9 3 times. So you know you're going to have a 3. And we'll just put a 1 there. All right, that a has a 1, so the difference between 1 and 3 is 2. And since 3 is bigger, leave it in the denominator. The difference between 2 and 4 is 2. 4 is bigger, so leave it in the denominator. So the answer is just 3 over a squared b squared. And the last one, a negative over negative is going to be a positive, so I'm just going to leave that there. You have x cubed, but you have no x's here, so that's just going to stay x cubed. You have y cubed and y to the 1st. The difference is 2, and since 3 is bigger, you leave that in the numerator, and that's your answer. So what I want you to do now is I want you to click on the assignment that's under assignments, and I want you to do those practice problems. Just write them on your own paper.